I used to think betrayal came with raised voices and thrown plates. Maybe shattered picture frames, tears running like rivers, accusations sharp as razors. But no, mine arrived wrapped in silence. Clean, cold, undisturbed. I still remember her face when I told her. I have cancer. 3 words that felt like bricks in my throat. Cora paused mid-bite. Her fork hovered over kale and grilled salmon, one sesame seed teetering on the edge. She blinked once, slow, as if waiting for a punchline. Then she picked up her glass, kombucha, peach flavor, and took a sip. Did they say it's bad? Stage 2 lymphoma, I said, voice rough. Chemo starts next week. She didn't drop her fork. Didn't reach across the table. Didn't even frown. Instead, she tapped her screen, answering a text with lightning speed, smirking at something. Her fingers danced. Then she glanced up. Next week's the spa trip with Savannah, she said, tone casually apologetic. You know, my birthday thing. Booked it 3 months ago. Non-refundable. I stared at her, stunned. You're not seriously going. I mean, she shrugged, sipping again, it's only the first treatment, right? You'll be okay. My throat tightened. Cora, it's cancer. You always overthink things, she said, almost smiling. Let's just see how it goes. That night, I lay in bed next to her, awake and hollow. She scrolled social media, liking everything with that half-smirk she wore when she thought I wasn't watching. Her skin smelled like lemongrass and detachment. We hadn't touched in weeks. No warmth. No kisses. No, how are you really? Just silence. I turned to her. You're not scared. She didn't look up. Of what? Losing me. She finally paused. Her eyes met mine. But they didn't soften. Didn't even blink. You're not going to die, Ian. Don't make this a thing. She turned off her phone. Rolled away. Pulled the covers up. I stared at the ceiling. Wondering when love became convenience. Cora wasn't always like this. We met at a rooftop party 11 years ago. She was barefoot on the ledge, drink in hand, wind kissing her hair. She was chaos and wildness wrapped in red lipstick. I was the cautious one. The guy with a plan. She laughed when I said I was an accountant. God, that's so boring. She kissed me 5 minutes later. 3 months in, I proposed. Not because I was sure, but because I was terrified someone else would steal her. She said yes like it was a dare. For a while we were magic. Sex in the shower, midnight drives, secret joke. She wore my shirts. I wrote her poems. Then the magic faded. Not all at once. Like paint peeling from a wall. Tiny flakes of apathy falling away. Fewer kisses. Shorter conversations. Longer business trip. I blamed myself. I worked too much. I stopped listening. Maybe I got soft. But nothing prepares you for the moment you realize someone you love is already gone, and just hasn't left the room yet. The morning of her spa trip, she moved like a model through our kitchen, dragging a pale pink suitcase behind her. She wore yoga pants and $1,000 sunglasses. I was curled up on the couch, nausea from the prep meds already making my stomach churn. She leaned down, kissed my cheek. It was cold. Don't forget to hydrate. And eat clean. Cancer feeds on sugar, you know. She winked. Call if it's serious, okay? Then she left. Like I was the one on vacation. Treatment was hell. The chair was stiff. The floor hurt. The air smelled like rubbing alcohol and dying dreams. I stared at the beige walls while a machine pumped poison into my body. Nobody came with me. Cora posted a boomerang of champagne flutes clinking beside a pool. Her caption, "Self-care is sacred sparkles #birthday vibes." I turned off my phone. That's when Isla entered my life. She walked into the infusion room like she belonged there, confident, fierce, bald as a goddess. Her eyes locked on mine. She gave a half-smile. Sat 2 chairs over. Pulled out a bag of Cheez-It. "You look like you want to punch a wall," she said. I blinked. "Rough day." "No such thing in chemo," she said, tossing me a snack bag. "It's all just varying degrees of suck." I laughed. Despite myself. Despite the drugs, the nausea, the emptiness. She leaned over. I'm Isla. You. Ian. We shook hands. Her grip was firm. Warm. She leaned back. So. Who screwed you over? What? You've got that look. Betrayed. Abandoned. Ghosted at the worst possible time. I hesitated. My wife went to a spa retreat instead of coming with me. She let out a sharp whistle. Damn. I didn't need to say more. Over the next hour we talked. About everything. Childhood fears. Favorite foods. Worst dates. I told her how I used to paint. How I gave it up. She told me she used to dance, ballet. But treatment changed her balance. I lost a part of me, she said softly. But I'm finding other parts now. When my drip finished, she stood with me. Walked me out. Her car was red, beat up, covered in band stickers. You hungry? She asked. Starving. Good. I know a place with fries better than morphine. We ate in her car. Windows down. Fries drenched in hot sauce. Music blaring. I didn't feel sick. I didn't feel afraid. I just felt seen. She reached over, wiped sauce from my lip with her thumb. And something shifted. I looked at her. Really looked. She leaned in. Slowly. Deliberately. Our lips met. And I forgot my wife's name for a moment. I didn't sleep with Isla that night. But I wanted to. And that scared me more than the cancer. Because deep down I knew, it was already over between Cora and me. We just hadn't signed the death certificate yet. Cora didn't call the next day. Or the next. Her Instagram told the story. Facials, matcha lattes, girls in matching robes. Not once did she text to ask how I felt. Whether I needed anything. Whether I was alive. Isla showed up with lemon soup, warm bread, and a playlist she made just for me. I sat on my porch with her, sipping soup, watching the sky bleed orange. Why me? I asked. Why are you here? She looked at me like it was the simplest thing in the world. Because you deserve someone who stays. The next treatment was worse. My veins resisted. My chest felt like fire. My body wanted out. I squeezed Isla's hand until my knuckles went white. Breathe, she whispered. I'm trying. She rested her forehead against mine. You're stronger than this. Don't let it win. I didn't cry. Not until I got home. And even then, I texted thank you instead of help me. Because I didn't want to scare her away. She didn't speak to me for 2 days. Cora, queen of subtle cruelty, had mastered the art of Cold War. No yelling. No pleading. Just slamming cabinet doors, passive-aggressive clinks of silverware, and a silence sharp enough to flay skin. She moved through the house like a ghost in designer yoga pants. No questions about my nausea, no offers of tea, no glances in my direction. She wiped down every surface I touched with lavender disinfectant like I was contagious filth. In a way, maybe I was. I tried to explain once. Not to justify. Just to say it. You left me when I needed you. Cora's eyes narrowed, her voice ablaze. You cheated. You don't get to make this my fault. I didn't plan it. She scoffed, tossing her phone into the couch cushions. Right. You accidentally fell into her mouth. It wasn't like that. Then what was it, Ian? Some Florence Nightingale fantasy? She held your hand and you gave her your dick in gratitude. I clenched my jaw. The anger started in my chest and burned upward. You weren't there, Cora. Not just that weekend. You haven't been here for months. You sleep with your back to me. You look at your phone more than you look at my face. I didn't cheat. No. You just stopped caring. Silence again. But not the cold kind. This one was heavier. Because it was true. She started locking the bedroom door at night. I didn't mind. I slept better on the couch anyway. Fewer memories there. During the day, we orbited around each other like hostile planet. She'd clatter dishes passive-aggressively, while I lay pale and sweating on the recliner, my stomach roiling from the last round of chemo. Sometimes I caught her staring at me when she thought I was asleep, eyes filled not with concern, but calculation. She was planning something. I could feel it. Isla knew about the blow-up. She didn't say, "I told you so." Didn't gloat. She just brought me broth and crackers and curled beside me on the floor like we were hiding from the world. "Do you regret telling her?" she asked softly. I stared at the ceiling, voice hoarse. "No. I regret marrying her." Isla's hand found mine. "Then don't die for her." "I'm not dying for her," I said. "I'm surviving for you." The first time we made love, it wasn't lust. It was rebellion. Isla's body was a map of her battles, scars like brushstrokes, stretch marks from steroids, a faint tremor in her fingers. But she kissed like someone who remembered what joy felt like. And I followed her into that memory. She stripped me slowly, reverently, as if every inch was something sacred. There was no urgency, no frenzy, just warmth, trust. Hands that didn't flinch when they touched the ports in my chest or the thin hair left on my scalp. I cried when I came. Not from the orgasm. From the relief. From the feeling of being wanted. Alive. Cora found a lawyer. I overheard the phone call in the kitchen. I wasn't trying to eavesdrop. My legs had given out on the way to the fridge, and I was sitting on the floor, back against the pantry door, trying not to puke. "Yes, I want spousal support," she was saying. "Yes," he cheated. "I have texts. Pictures, even." My stomach twisted. She'd been spying. Maybe from the beginning. I heard her laugh, sharp, bitter. "Oh, he's not going to make this easy. He's still playing the victim card. Cancer or not, he ked someone else." Silence. Then, "No, I'm not leaving the house. Let him rot there." I didn't tell Isla about the lawyer. Not yet. She was already carrying so much, her own treatments, her part-time work, the quiet panic in her eyes when she thought about the scan results due next week. I couldn't add a legal war to her world. But I knew I had to act soon. Cora wasn't going to let me go. Not without taking everything first. We were married under oak trees in a winery. I wore a light gray suit. She wore a backless dress with pearls trailing down her spine. Everyone said we looked perfect. Perfect was a lie. Now she walked past me like a stranger. Her perfume, once addictive, made me nauseous. She still used my last name. Still wore her ring. But her eyes didn't recognize me anymore. And maybe mine didn't either. I opened the safe on a Thursday. Inside were papers, receipts, old passports, and a red flash drive I didn't remember putting there. I clicked it open on my laptop. There were photos, screenshot, me and Isla, from behind bushes, through hospital windows, in parking lots, private moments catalogued. She'd been watching, following. And then there was the folder labeled, insurance. Inside, my will. My policy. $1 million. Payable to Cora Bennett upon death. I stared. Then laughed. But it wasn't funny. It was war. I changed the beneficiary that night. Left everything to Isla. All legal. All notarized. Then I emailed myself a backup copy. Just in case. "Come stay with me," Isla said, when I finally told her about the lawyer, the surveillance, the insurance. She didn't flinch. "Even if it gets ugly?" She looked at me like I was an idiot. "You think I'm scared of ugly? Ian, I am ugly. My body's a mess. My lungs suck. My skin hates me. But I'm still here." "You're not ugly," she smiled. "And neither is this. What we have. It's the only real thing I've felt in years." I packed a bag the next morning. It wasn't much. Some clothes, a few meds, my sketchbook. Cora was out. At brunch, probably. Or the gym. I left a note, though I didn't know why. Just 3 words. I deserve better. I didn't expect her to scream. But when I came back for the rest of my stuff the next day with Isla in the car, that's exactly what she did. Cora stood in the doorway, eyes wild, makeup smeared, holding the note in her hand. "You coward," she shrieked. "You think you can just leave me? After everything?" Isla stayed in the car. I didn't yell back. I walked past her, grabbed my records, My meds. My photos of my dad. Cora blocked the door. You want to destroy me? No, I said calmly. I want to be free. She slapped me. Hard. It echoed in the hallway. I didn't react. Just looked at her. Really looked. She wasn't furious. She was afraid. Afraid I was slipping from her control. Afraid I no longer needed her permission to live. Isla opened the door when I got back in. Ready? She asked. Yeah. Everything okay? I didn't lie. No. But it's better than before. She took my hand and drove us away. I didn't sleep much the first week at Isla's. Partly because of the meds. Partly because my body ached like it was being punished for escaping. But mostly because I kept waiting for the hammer to drop. For Cora to show up at the door, screaming, clawing, destroying. But she didn't. Instead, she went quiet. Too quiet. Isla's apartment was small, bare brick walls, mismatched furniture, incense always burning in the corner like a ward against ghosts. I'd never lived anywhere that felt so unpolished, so raw, so real. We slept on a mattress with no bed frame. She played jazz records at night, ones that crackled with imperfections. She left me sticky notes on the bathroom mirror. Still hot, survive today, steal a kiss before coffee. It was messy, chaotic, beautiful, and for the first time in years, I felt like I belonged somewhere. One night, I woke up from a fever dream, sweating, shaking, unable to breathe. Isla pulled me against her without a word, wrapped herself around my bones like armor. I've got you, she whispered. I've got you. And she did. Not just in that moment. Every moment. She held me when I puked, when I cried, when I snapped at her out of pain and guilt and chemo rage. She never flinched. She loved me when I was most unlovable, and I gave myself to her fully, not out of desperation, but desire. The sex wasn't delicate anymore. It wasn't sad either. It was need. Raw, loud, trembling need. I loved Cora in theory once, but I wanted Isla. Every touch was a declaration, every gasp an apology to every version of myself that ever thought he had to settle for less. She rode me like she had something to prove, and maybe she did. Maybe we both did. That cancer hadn't killed the heat in our bodies. That our scars weren't warnings, they were maps. She moaned my name like a prayer. And I swore I saw God in the way she bit my shoulder when she came. Cora finally broke her silence with a single text. You'll regret this. I didn't reply. She sent another. I know about her. And the money. Watch your back. That one made me pause. Because it meant she really knew. The insurance. The will change. Everything. The lawyer I found was young but ruthless. She read through my documentation, flipped through the photos, the spyware logs I recovered from the home Wi-Fi, and gave a tight smile. She wanted to build a case around your infidelity, she said. Instead, you've got a case for emotional abandonment, invasion of privacy, and malicious intent. I raised an eyebrow. Malicious. She pointed to the insurance file. She had motive. The cheating didn't kill your marriage. This did. A week later, the petition was filed. Cora responded with fire. Court dates, subpoenas, false claims about Islam manipulating me while I was vulnerable. She even tried to convince the judge that I was mentally unstable and unfit to manage my own affairs. But she underestimated one thing. I wasn't alone anymore. Isla sat beside me in the courthouse. Her hand found mine before every session, and her voice steadied me when I felt the weight of my own guilt try to drag me under. I don't care what they say, she whispered. You don't owe anyone your suffering. The judge was old, stern. A woman who looked like she'd seen every kind of couple implode. She read our statements quietly, eyes scanning like blades. Cora wore a white blouse and crocodile tears. She spoke about betrayal, about humiliation, about how I'd spiraled emotionally and made unsafe choices under stress. She preyed on his weakness, she said, gesturing toward Isla. Isla stood before she was asked. Your Honor, she said calmly, he wasn't weak. He was abandoned. There's a difference. Cora rolled her eyes. I stayed silent. Sometimes the truth doesn't need defense, it just needs daylight. The court ruled for separation of asset. No alimony. No payout. Cora screamed in the parking lot. Threw her heels. Called me a diseased joke. I didn't flinch. Because I finally understood something important. Love isn't just about who you marry. It's about who shows up when the world burns. Isla and I went to the ocean after. Just drove without talking until we hit the shore. She peeled off her wig for the first time in public. Let the wind have her. I watched her run barefoot into the surf, laughing like the world hadn't tried to kill her 6 different ways. I followed. The water was cold. The sky was fire orange. And in that moment I didn't feel sick. I felt infinite. We made love in the backseat of her car, salty and soaked and smiling. I kissed every inch of her until she whispered my name like it was a secret. And then we just lay there. No music. No distractions. Just hearts. Just breath. Just us. My next scan came back clean. I didn't expect it. The doctor smiled as he read the result. No evidence of disease. I stared at him. He said it again. Slower. Isla was outside, waiting with a bag of trail mix and a crossword book. I ran out and told her. She dropped everything, wrapped her arms around me, cried into my shoulder. You made it, she whispered. We made it. Cora never spoke to me again after the ruling. She moved out of the house 2 weeks later. Sold the furniture. Left nothing but echoes. Sometimes I still walk by our old place. Not out of regret, just curiosity. Like visiting the grave of a version of myself I don't miss. One night, Isla and I painted each other's scars in watercolor. Just for fun. Mine were red and purple, like war wounds. Hers were gold. When we were done, we took a picture. Naked, raw, covered in color. It's still my favorite photo of us. Not because it's erotic, but because it's proof we survived. Isla's scan comes next month. We're both scared. But we don't say it. Instead, we say things like, let's go to Italy if it's good news. Let's get a dog that hates everyone but us. Let's live messy and full and loud. Because we know now. Love isn't about the vows. It's about who sits beside you in the dark. And never lets go. There are moments you know will change everything. You don't always see them coming. Sometimes they look like quiet mornings. Sometimes they arrive in envelope. Sometimes they smell like flowers that don't belong. The day Isla found the letter, I was asleep. And when I woke up, everything was different. It wasn't supposed to reach her first. I had written it months earlier, during the thick of chemo, when I couldn't even hold a pen straight. A last letter, just in case I didn't survive. I'd left it in a folder marked "In Case I Go," tucked under the bed, next to old medical records and expired prescriptions. But she was cleaning. And when she found it, she opened it. I don't blame her. I would have too. It began with, "If you're reading this, I'm gone." But I wasn't. And that made the next few pages harder. It detailed everything, my affair with her, the betrayal, the guilt, the truth about Cora's insurance threats. But it also confessed things I hadn't told her aloud. That I had considered taking my own life one night, the pain too sharp, the loneliness louder than my heartbeat. That I had started falling for her long before I let myself admit it. That if I had died, she would have been the only person I trusted to hold my story. Isla sat on the floor beside me, letter crushed in her lap, eyes unreadable. "I don't know whether to be honored or heartbroken," she said quietly. I reached for her hand. She didn't pull away. But she didn't hold back either. "You plan to leave me that burden," she said. "That final version of you. I didn't want you to forget me." Her voice broke. I never had that option. Silence filled the room. Not the heavy kind we knew from Cora, but the kind that waits, that listens. I told her the truth again. Not because I had to, but because I wanted her to know it in my voice, not my handwriting. "I didn't write that because I expected to die," I said. I wrote it because I didn't want to leave anything unsaid. She nodded, then asked the question I feared most. Do you still love her? I hesitated, not because I didn't know, but because love is a complicated corp. I don't miss her, I said. I miss who I thought she was. She studied me, then kissed me, once soft, with no passion, just presence. I need time, she whispered. I'll wait. She didn't leave. But for 3 days we didn't touch. She slept facing the wall. I lay on the edge of the mattress, pretending not to notice the distance growing like vines between us. On the 4th day I made breakfast. Pancakes, strawberries, too much whipped cream. She sat across from me and said, "You're not a bad man." I smiled weakly. I was for a while. No. You were broken. But now you're rebuilding. She paused. And I want to be part of that. 2 months later, we got a dog. A mangy, one-eyed mutt Isla found outside the pharmacy. She named her Bowie. Bowie hated everyone but Isla. She growled at mailmen and pooped exclusively in front of the neighbors' fancy hydrangeas. But she adored me. Go figure. The day of Isla's next scan, the sky was yellow. Dust storms sweeping in from the outskirts. Everything looked apocalyptic. It matched how we felt. We didn't talk on the drive. Just held hands tightly. The waiting room was full of faces that had lived 1,000 small deaths already. We added ours to the crowd. The doctor came in. Clipboard. Smile. Clean. That was all he said. We didn't cry this time. We just looked at each other and laughed. We drove straight to the beach. Bowie threw up in the back seat. Perfect, really. Later that night we danced in the kitchen. No music. Just our feet on tile. Her breath in my ear. My heartbeat against hers. She whispered, "Marry me." I pulled back, stunned. You sure? Yeah. But we'll do it our way. No flowers. No guests. No lies. We got married under a neon motel sign on Route 9. A guy named Randy officiated. His shirt had flamingos on it. Bowie wore a bow tie. Isla wore jeans and a smirk. I wore a thrifted blazer and hope. And we laughed the whole time. Because the only thing we'd taken seriously was each other. Cora sent a card 4 months later. Just 2 words. Still watching. Isla tossed it in the trash without blinking. Some nights we talk about the past. Not with regret, but with reverence. Because we survived it. We earned each other in fire. Isla said once, "If you had died, I would have haunted you." I believe her. We still have scars. But now we kiss them. We still ache. But now we rest in each other. We still fear the future. But now we don't face it alone. My wife chose a spa trip over my first cancer treatment. She came home to a man she no longer owned, a house emptied of lies, and the sound of her scream echoing against the walls of her own decisions. She lost control. I gained a life. And in the end, the real betrayal wasn't the affair. It was abandoning someone when they needed you most. I chose to love again. Louder. Harder. Better. And this time, the woman beside me? She didn't run. She danced in the wreckage and helped build something real.